All right. Today I'm going to be presenting some photos I took around Northeastern's campus that I felt embodied the certain principles of Zen aesthetics we discussed in class. I'm hoping with this that any one of us could go to one of these spots and be present in these spaces to at least partially put into context the feelings these aesthetics seek to convey. Starting with probably the most accessible, Komorebi, loosely translated as sunlight filtering through trees, demonstrates both a gratitude towards the sunlight and an attentiveness to the dancing effect between light and shadows. Admittedly, these pictures aren't the best display of this effect, as the time of day was a little too late and I was a little entranced by capturing the autumnal beauty of the trees. But the spots themselves are pretty tranquil if you're going to tree watch and really get into the simpleness of just watching the lights and shadows compared to the distracting bustle of somewhere like Centennial. Well, Yugen's a bit difficult to capture, both because it tends to be personal and generally inexpressible. These three pictures I find personally to invoke Yugen's depth and sense of mystery. While not a spot, just walking around Boston or anywhere in the fog is always a really captivating experience. Fog's definitely my favorite weather for just how unknowable it makes the familiar and just how it basks the world in a haze that makes you feel like something is lost. You're lost, or the world itself is lost. But our capacity to fill in with our mind what we can't currently see, but have seen in the past, or maybe haven't, just exploring in the fog is definitely in line with Yugen. And on the right, this one spot personally captivates me. I always feel very agoraphobic whenever I walk through it. I feel very seen, as if all of Boston itself is watching me. Just, I don't know, all the windows, the sprawl before me. There's both an overwhelming awe and an unexplainable anxiety just in the quantity of I'm seeing before me. And then on the top, I put this in Yugen, but I've contemplated putting it on pretty much every slide. I just love staring at this fixture on the top floor of West Village H. Probably the only one. I'm just captivated by what it is, what it would be like to live up there, to just hang out up there, just how the sun always hits it. I'm just always filled with such intrigue, imagining these hangouts and watch sunsets that will probably never happen because it's probably just a bit of architectural seasoning. But it's just a very elusive spot that I always find myself asking questions about when I look at, and hopefully can visit before I graduate, but who knows. Mono no Aware is our capacity to understand and embody the feeling of things in the world. On the right, for one, the ephemerality of autumn's beauty puts us very much in tandem with the passing of seasons and time, while also, if present in this beauty, is a very pleasant thing to look at. As of now, sitting anywhere with a lot of trees, like the fens, as shown here from above, can really bring about a lot of pathos of just how the ephemeral and also placing yourself in the tree and almost the certain, like the death that comes with seasons. I don't know, the blossoming of death. On the left here, I was trying to capture on this antenna, there were 50 or so birds just sitting there. They seem to be almost like basking in the sunset after a long day of doing pigeon things. I began to imagine myself sitting where they sat, sharing in the experience of watching the passing of another day. Whatever they're doing, it felt like a very human or at least life-loving activity I wish I could have been a part of. Alas, I am but human, not a bird. I struggled a bit with this one just because on actually trying to look for it, noticing how generally curated, geometrical, and busy Northeastern's campus is, but Wabi is all about finding the beauty in the modest, imperfect, and austere. I tried to find one picture that fit each of these three definitions. Let me know how I did. For imperfect, I felt the dying plants, littered leaves, and duskiness of this koi pond loosely fit the imperfect, also a little bit the starkness. But I think it's a little more traditionally pretty and curated than something one might consider wabi. For austere, I I don't like walking at night. Most people don't. But something about this straight path behind the MFA and the occasional street lamp put me at ease just staring at it, as if it was holding my hands through the uncertainty of sight. Wabi's meant to feel restrained but not empty, and unsure but not fear-inducing, and I think this picture captures both of those balances loosely. And lastly, for understated, this picture of an alleyway. Alleyways always have interested me because they're a side product. They're like the negation of buildings, and they're always traversable, but not really meant to be, if you know what I mean. They have a reputation of being unsafe. They're always littered with pipes and dumpsters, air conditioning, and fire escapes. And in this sense, while they're an imperfection, I think it's also interesting how they're very designed and still utilized in spite of this almost being inherently an imperfect presence. And I think that's really interesting and hopefully Wabi. And that's all. Thanks for listening. And there's some other pictures I couldn't fit cleanly into any of the aesthetics.